This is a practical daily live mirror transmission. The I that appears. Before we begin, do not try to understand this. Let it meet you. Right now, notice something simple. You are here. No effort is required for this knowing. It is already the case. Now, notice that there is a sense of I am. Not your name, not your story, just the quiet fact of being. This sense I am is what the world reports to. Thoughts arise and say, I think. Sensations arise and say, I feel. Memory arises and says, I was. Everything reports to this I. But stay here and look carefully, because this I am was not always present. This morning, before waking, there was no report. No I, no world, no problem, no identity. And yet, you were not absent. Existence did not begin at waking, only the report did. So see this clearly now. The I am arises, and with its arising, the world arises. Time appears, space appears, the body appears, relationship appears. The world is contained in the I. But if the I arises, it cannot be what you are. Anything that appears must appear in something. So do not follow the I. Instead, notice what is aware of the I. The I knows experience, but something knows the I. That knowing does not speak. It does not say I am. It does not wake or sleep. It does not improve with insight or disappear with ignorance. Even the statement, I don't know is known. So let the question land, not as thought, but as a quiet pressure. What is here before the first claim? What is here before the first claim? Before I did, before I am, before I know. Do not answer, just remain. Now notice that nothing is missing. Breath happens, sound happens, sensation happens. But there is no need for a center to manage it. The I can arise, the I can dissolve. What you are does neither. Stay with this. Stay here, not as an experience, but as the unmoving context. This is not awakening. This is not attainment. It is simply what was never absent. When the I returns, let it return. When thought resumes, let it resume. You don't need to hold this. You cannot lose what you never became. And when you move back into the day, notice this. The world appears in the I, and the I appears in this. And this does not appear at all. Remain as that. Part 2. When the I returns. The I will return. It always does. Thought will speak again. The body will move. The day will ask something of you. This is not a mistake. The return of I is not a fall from truth. It is simply function coming back online. So do not resist the I. Resistance creates a second I, the watcher who tries to stay pure. Let the I arise. Let it say, I'm here. Let it plan, let it remember, let it respond. But notice something subtle. The I is now seen. Earlier in life, the I was assumed. Now it is observed. It moves through thought. It contracts in emotion. It expands in pleasure. But it is no longer the center. It is an appearance, like a wave on the surface of the ocean. The mistake was never the wave. The mistake was believing the wave was separate from the water. So when the I says, I am anxious, notice anxiety is present and the I has attached itself to it. When the I says, I must decide, notice decision is happening and it is the I that is narrating it. You do not need to correct the narration. You do not need to silence the I. Just keep seeing. Seeing is enough to keep the center empty. The I may still claim authorship. Let it. Authorship is a habit, not a problem. Over time, the I becomes lighter. Not because you push it away, but because it is no longer carrying reality. Life continues. Emails get written, conversations happen, and choices are made. But there is a quiet difference. The I functions, but it does not rule. It speaks, but it is not believed. And sometimes the I falls silent again. Not because you tried, but because it was not needed. In those moments, nothing special happens. No fireworks, no insight, just simplicity, doing what it does. This is integration, not transcendence, not escape. The I rises, the I falls. What you are does neither. Let the I return. Let it leave. But you remain. Part 3. When the I is triggered. This is where the work becomes real. Triggering is not failure. It is the moment the I grips something and says, "This matters to me." A word, a look, a memory, a message, a tone. Suddenly the I tightens. Emotion surges. Thought accelerates. The body contracts. This is the moment that most people either act or suppress. Do neither. Instead, pause here. Notice what is actually happening. There is sensation. There is thought. There is a story forming. And there is the I claiming ownership. I am offended. I am threatened. I am right. I'm hurt. But look closely. The trigger did not attack you. It activated a pattern that was already present. The trigger is not personal. It is mechanical. It presses a button, and the I rushes in to defend, explain, justify, or escape. Here is the mirror. The intensity you feel is not the proof of truth. It is proof of identification. So do this, very simply. Feel the sensation without narrating it. Let the body respond without commentary. Watch the I try to speak. You do not need to stop the speech. Just do not step inside it. Let the story talk without an owner. When there is no owner, the trigger loses fuel. Not immediately, but inevitably. This is not control. This is non-participation. The I feeds on engagement. Seeing starves it gently. Over time, the same triggers arise, but the hook is gone. The I still appears, but it cannot solidify into identity. This is how freedom shows itself in ordinary moments, not by avoiding life, but by meeting it, without becoming it. Part 4. when the I wants control. Control is subtle. It does not always look like force. Often it looks like preparation, planning, fixing, rehearsing, trying to get ahead of life. The I says, if I can manage this, I will be safe. And so it tightens, not always in thought, often in the body, the jaw, the chest, the belly, breath. Control begins as a contraction. Notice this carefully. Control is not intelligence. It is fear wearing the mask of responsibility. The I believes that without its grip, things will fall apart. But look honestly. Breathing happened before the I learned how. The heart beats without permission. Life organized itself long before you narrated it. Control does not create order. It reacts to the fear of losing an imaginary center. So when the I wants control, do not argue with it. Do not reassure it. And do not obey it automatically. Instead, return to sensation. Feel the body where it tightens. Let the breath move without instruction. Allow the moment to unfold one step at a time. Notice this. When control relaxes, nothing collapses. Decisions still happen. Movement still occurs. Action is still possible. What drops is the belief that you must hold reality together. That belief was never true. The I can suggest. It can plan. It can organize. But it does not need to command. When command dissolves, clarity increases. Responses become simpler. Timing becomes natural. And effort reduces. This is not surrender to chaos. It is surrender to intelligence that was already functioning. Now let the I loosen. Let life lead for a moment. And you will find that nothing is missing. And nothing needs to be held. Part 5. When the I is not needed. A closing mirror transmission. There are moments when the I does not appear, not because it was removed, but because it is unnecessary. In these moments, nothing special happens. No insight, no revelation, no sense of achievement. Life simply moves. Hands act, words arise, breath flows, and there is no one claiming authorship. This is not absence, it is fullness without commentary. The I is a tool. Tools are used when required. When they are not required, they rest. The problem was never the I. The problem was believing the tool was the source. In these moments of no I, nothing is missing. Yet responsibility remains, care remains, intelligence remains. But strain is absent. There is action without tension, movement without resistance, doing without a doer. If the I returns, let it return. If it stays quiet, let it stay quiet. No preference is needed. Truth does not require maintenance. What you are does not depend on awareness of itself. Even this sense, I am present, is optional. This is the end of seeking, not because something was found, but because nothing was ever lost. Let the day continue. Let the I appear when it is useful, and let it disappear when it is not. You do not need to monitor this. You never did.